They're not coming back. Not the person, not the version of them you once knew, not the story you told yourself to hold on just a little longer. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a tragedy. Maybe it's your first real opportunity to become who you were meant to be, not in reaction to their presence, but in the quiet truth of their absence. Most people don't actually move on, they just distract themselves into forgetting. They stay busy enough, loud enough, fast enough to drown out the ache that never really left. But deep down, they're still clinging to something long gone. A memory, a shadow, a version of the past that only exists in their mind. You thought letting go would break you, but here you are, still breathing, still standing, still searching for the strength to stop pretending it doesn't hurt. The Stoics had no tolerance for illusions. They saw attachment for what it truly is, weakness wrapped in romance, dependence wrapped in sentiment, because the moment you believe you need someone else to feel whole, you've already lost yourself. Letting go isn't cruelty, it isn't failure, and it certainly isn't coldness. It's courage, the kind of courage that doesn't scream, doesn't fight, doesn't beg, the kind that whispers to itself in silence. This ends with me. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that strength begins not with resistance, but with release. This is not about healing, this is about awakening. About finally seeing the chains we put on ourselves, and choosing, moment by moment, to stop wearing them. When you let go, you don't lose them, you meet yourself again, maybe for the first time. You can't force someone to stay, you can't convince someone to care, and you certainly can't control the direction of a heart that has already turned away. But still, we try. We hold on to what is fading. We beg the past to give us back what it already took. We replay conversations in our mind, rewriting them in desperate hope that this time the ending will be different. But it never is. Because reality does not bend to longing. It moves on, even when we don't. And the longer we cling to something that has already died, the more we begin to decay with it. Epictetus warned us clearly, some things are up to us, and some are not. This truth, as simple as it sounds, is where most suffering begins. People refuse to let go, not because they love too deeply, but because they fear too much. Fear of change, fear of silence, fear of emptiness. So they chase what is gone, not out of strength but out of desperation. The Stoic path begins when we stop chasing and start seeing. We recognize the illusion of control and choose instead to focus on what is real. Our thoughts, our responses, our direction. Letting go doesn't mean you never cared. It means you finally accepted that your peace matters more than your fantasy. That you are not here to beg for space in someone else's life, but to take up space in your own. There is a moment, subtle but undeniable, when you feel the weight of what you've been carrying and realize it's not yours anymore. You feel the ache not just of loss but of effort, the constant inner work of keeping something alive that no longer wants to live. This is what attachment does. It convinces you that letting go will destroy you, when in truth, holding on is what's slowly killing you. The Stoics didn't preach emotional numbness, they preached clarity. Seneca didn't say avoid pain, he said don't prolong it. Love, when real, does not require bondage. It thrives in freedom. But attachment, which often disguises itself as love, fears freedom because it cannot survive without control. That's why it clings. That's why it manipulates. That's why it drowns the soul in constant doubt. When you believe you need someone to be whole, you give them the power to shatter you. And no one, not even someone you love, should hold that kind of power over your spirit. What are you still clinging to? And who are you becoming because of it? The work of detachment is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about remembering who you were before you gave your worth away. It's about standing still in the storm of your emotions and saying, I will not be moved by what is no longer mine. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of wisdom. It is the realization that clinging to anything temporary only invites suffering. The Stoics understood that everything external is fleeting: people, possessions, praise, even pain. To depend on any of it for peace is to hand your stability over to the wind. Marcus Aurelius reflected often on impermanence, reminding himself that everything he loved would soon vanish, not to cause despair, but to sharpen his appreciation and his strength. The point of Stoic detachment is not to become numb. It is to love without losing yourself, to care without collapsing, to stay present without being possessed by what you cannot keep. When you practice this, you stop begging life to meet your terms. You stop meeting life exactly as it is. You stop gripping and stop letting it move through you. You don't need to chase, to hold, to prove, to control. You simply observe, respond, and release. This is not passivity. This is power, the kind of power that no one can take from you. Because the one who is truly free is not the one who has nothing to lose, but the one who no longer fears losing. And once you reach that place, your love becomes purer, your boundaries become stronger, and your soul stops breaking every time something slips away. Letting go is not the end of something. It's the beginning of your return to peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on what stays, but on what no longer disturbs your center. You were not born with emptiness inside you. That hollow feeling, the one that begs for validation, for affection, for someone to choose you. It was taught to you. Conditioned by a world that profits from your need to be seen, wanted, desired. But the Stoics taught that your value is inherent. Your mind is your kingdom. Your soul is your own. If you need someone else to feel whole, then you've abandoned yourself. Detachment begins when you stop outsourcing your worth. When you stop giving others the power to define what only you can confirm. This doesn't mean you stop loving. It means your love is no longer a form of negotiation. You don't give to get. You don't stay to be rescued. You are not a fragment waiting to be completed. And the moment you stop searching for yourself in someone else's eyes, you begin to see clearly. The space you feared becomes sacred. The silence becomes a sanctuary. The solitude becomes your strength. And slowly, something changes. You no longer panic when someone pulls away, because you realize who you are does not walk away with them. You were whole before they arrived. You are whole now. And you will still be whole after they're gone. This is what detachment offers you. Not an empty life, but a life where nothing external has the power to define your inner state. There comes a moment when words no longer serve you. When explaining, justifying, or trying to be understood becomes an act of self-betrayal. That moment is silence. Not as weakness, but as mastery. The Stoics valued silence not because they lacked emotion, but because they refused to be ruled by it. When you choose silence, you are not giving up the fight. You are choosing not to fight battles that dishonor your peace. You are stepping out of the noise and standing firm in the stillness of who you are. The need to explain yourself, to be heard, to be validated, all of it fades when you realize that clarity doesn't require permission. You don't owe closure to those who shattered you. You don't owe kindness to those who exploited your love. You don't owe answers to those who left without them. What you owe is to yourself. Peace, dignity, healing, and those things grow in silence. Detachment is not loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't argue. It doesn't perform. It simply walks away, quietly, fully, without the need for applause. The most powerful form of letting go is not when you slam the door. It's when you stop standing at it, waiting for it to open again. And the moment you do that, you stop being the one who was left, and you become the one who chose freedom. Letting go is not the end. It is the moment you reclaim what you gave away: your attention, your energy, your power. Most people will never understand how heavy it is to carry someone in silence, to mourn what still breathes, to break 1,000 times without making a sound. But you do. And that's why this path, the path of detachment, of inner stillness, of silent strength, is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who are done begging, done proving, done shrinking themselves to be loved. It's for those who are tired of waiting for closure that never comes, tired of confusing loyalty with self-destruction, tired of silencing their needs just to keep someone else comfortable. The Stoics didn't teach us to erase emotion, they taught us to master it. To stop bleeding for what does not bleed for us, to stop leaking our soul into places that do not honor it. You are not cold for walking away, you are not cruel for choosing peace. You are not broken because you stopped trying, you are strong. Strong enough to let go of what was never truly yours. Strong enough to stop knocking on doors that were never meant to open. Strong enough to face yourself, without distractions, without illusions, without begging anyone to come back. So if you've been waiting for a sign to let go, this is it. Stop carrying ghosts. Stop watering dead gardens. Let them go, not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally started loving yourself. And if this video spoke to something inside you, don't keep it quiet, share it, reflect on it, and subscribe to the Stoic Pathless, because the path of stillness is waiting, and you don't have to walk it alone.